And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, MyCast Live Radio from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and also on 405 Media Radio, Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. In addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day, simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Dial directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. By the way, in our special segments today, Sean LaFave is going to be here talking about health care on his Geared for Wellness Corner, and John Matthews is going to be here talking about his conservative syndicate and socialistic Democrats. You're going to find that interesting. He just did a whole series on his show that airs Monday through Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. On that very subject. If you haven't gotten it, go to his website at theconservativesyndicate.net and look that up. You'll be glad that you did. But right now, I want you to stand by for news. At 3:05 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 81 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, I want to tell you about the 10 things that you need to know for today. This is an encapsulated version of the news. The 10 things that you should know are going on around the world that are going to affect, the world, I suppose we could say, right? That's the least it's going to be affecting. But right now, let me get into those things for you so that you can get an idea of where we stand. It's your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that'll be talked about today and tomorrow. First up, Hillary Clinton taking center stage at the Benghazi hearing. She'll be the star witness in the Republican-led investigation into the deadly 2012 attacks on the U.S. diplomatic compound. And Assad puts resilience on display. His surprise visit to Moscow, a first foray out in nearly 5 years, underscores how emboldened the Syrian leader has become and how he could survive the ruinous war. And media get close. Look at the military hub in Syria. The Russian Defense Ministry flies reporters to an air base in western Syria, giving international news organizations their first inside look at its combat operations there. And how Biden's decision not to run in 2016 unfolded. The vice president went right up to the brink of being a candidate, delaying his decision over and over again before abruptly pulling the plug. Well, let's meet again in the afterlife. Wrenching departures for Koreans. Hundreds of elderly Koreans sweep and embrace as they part, perhaps for good, after briefly reuniting with relatives and spouses for the first time in more than 60 years since war tore them apart. And which uncommon cause Paul Ryan is championing? The Republican, who's likely to become the next Speaker of the House, has become an unlikely spokesman for balancing family life with work. Hear, hear. I support that. And subject charged with murder in road rage shooting in New Mexico. The man allegedly opened fire on a pickup truck on an Albuquerque freeway, killing a 4-year-old girl whose father had just picked her up from school. And a storm bears down on Mexico, expected to strengthen. Patricia, nearing Mexico's Pacific coast, could become a major hurricane later this week, forecasters warn. And who's putting divorce on hold? Can you guess? Well, Lamar Odom and Khloe Kardashian decide to stay married as the ex-NBA star continues his recovery a week after he was found unconscious at a Nevada brothel. And finally, simply amazing Mets punched the ticket to World Series. Daniel Murphy homers in his record sixth straight postseason game, and New York downs the Cubs 8-3 to reach the World Series for the first time in 15 years. Now, isn't that something? Absolutely. Well, you know what? We've got a lot of things to talk about, and I want to give us enough time. So we're going to go on a commercial break just about 50 seconds early, and when we come back, we're going to talk about in-depth news, starting with Clinton, who seeks to look presidential in her hearing. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, we're talking news, and I promised you it's an analysis. Clinton seeks to look presidential in her hearing. With a calmer demeanor and detailed answers, Hillary Rodham Clinton sought to turn an hours-long congressional grilling on the deadly Benghazi attacks into an opportunity to look more presidential than political. Clinton, the front-runner for the 2016 Democratic nomination, used her opening remarks remarks today to urge lawmakers to reach for statesmanship and rise above partisanship when asked by a friendly lawmaker how it felt to be accused of contributing to the deaths of 4 Americans. She spoke in a soft tone about the emotional toll of the 2012 attacks. "I imagine I've thought more about what happened than all of you put together," Clinton said. "I've lost more sleep than all of you put together." And when the committee's Republican chairman and top Democratic member heatedly argued about making public the panel's earlier private hearings, Clinton sat back with a bemused smile on her face for several minutes. She appeared more than happy to stay out of a partisan spat that seemed to bolster her campaign's contention that the hearing was more about politics than uncovering new information about the violence in Libya. Clinton was largely unflappable through 5 hours of testimony. After a late afternoon break, the hearing was due to continue for a few more hours. For Clinton, the hearing in the cavernous House committee room was a setting that played to her strengths. She's long been more comfortable delving into detailed policy discussions than giving lofty speeches or engaging in other trappings of political campaigns, and she's often been at her best when she has an opponent with whom to draw a contrast. In this case, a Republican-led committee. To be sure, Clinton was sharply challenged by GOP lawmakers on a range of issues, from requests for additional security at the Benghazi compound that went unfulfilled to her frequent email exchanges about Libya with Sidney Blumenthal, a longtime Clinton friend who had no role at the State Department. You know what? I could tell you more and more and more about that, but the truth is that that's a subject that can just go on forever, I'm thinking. There are some fact checks that I could give you about today's meeting, though, and I kind of like to give you that a little bit. Clinton and critics on the Benghazi emails. Let's talk about that a little bit. Congressional investigations, by definition, are about finding facts, but some facts were twisted today in a showdown between Hillary Rodham Clinton and her Republican questioners over how history and voters will remember the deadly 2012 attack on a diplomatic compound and CIA quarters in Benghazi, Libya. A look at some of the claims in the House hearing where lawmakers quizzed Clinton, Secretary of State, during the Benghazi episode, and now a 2016 Democratic presidential candidate. Here's something that Clinton said. There was a good back and forth about security on communications between U.S. personnel in Libya and State Department in Washington about security needs at the Benghazi compound before the attack that killed Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 other Americans. The actual facts? The Independent Review, Clinton convened after the attacks deeply faulted State Department officials in Washington for poor communication and cooperation as diplomats in Libya pressed for more security and Benghazi grew more dangerous. The Accountability Review Board cited a lack of transparency, responsiveness, and leadership at senior bureau levels and shortfalls in Washington coordination, contributing to a woefully insufficient security force at the compound. The fewer than half dozen armed diplomatic security personnel at the compound were not well served by their leadership in Washington, the board said. Clinton furthermore asserted that personnel in Benghazi were granted many of their requests for security equipment upgrades. The review board, however, said Washington showed a tendency to overemphasize the positive impact of physical security upgrades to a profoundly weak system. At the same time, Washington officials were generally failing to meet Benghazi's repeated requests to augment security personnel. Wow. Well, Representative Trey Gowdy, the Republican committee chairman, ridiculed the idea of Stevens having to stop and provide public messaging advice to your press shop a week after a bomb blew a hole in the compound's wall without injuring anyone. Gowdy referred to the request from the State Department spokeswoman at the time, Victoria Nuland, who wrote, "According to the chairman, we'd like your advice about public messaging about the spat of violence in Libya over the last 10 days. The actual facts, an important part of any ambassador's job is to be the public face of the United States policy in the host country and to help decide what the U.S. government should say publicly about that country. State Department spokespeople receive guidance every day from ambassadors, assistant secretaries, and other top officials about their areas of expertise so they can most accurately present U.S. policy to the public." Well, I could give you more and go on more and more, but you know what? I don't want this news section to be only about Hillary Clinton. You'll hear it on the news tonight, but I wanted to give you the upfront, fast, abbreviated form of it. Well, this in from the Pentagon. An American is killed in a raid to free Iraqis held by the Islamic State. Believing that Islamic State captives held on a compound in northern Iraq faced imminent mass execution, dozens of U.S. Special Operations troops and Iraqi forces raided the site today, freeing approximately 70 Iraqi prisoners in an operation that saw the first American killed in combat in the country since the United States campaign against the IS began in 2014, officials said. The raiders killed and captured a number of militants and recovered what the Pentagon called a trove of valuable intelligence about the terrorist organization. The U.S. service member who died was not publicly identified pending notification of relatives. Officials said this was the first American combat death in Iraq since the United States began its counter-IS military campaign in August of 2014. Wow. And you think, and you say to yourself, is there anything going on in the world today? Well, you can better believe it. How about this? Russia shows military might in Syria and also pushes diplomacy. Boy, there's a departure. As Russia unleashed waves of warplanes today from this airbase in western Syria to pound militant targets, President Vladimir Putin pushed diplomatic efforts with the West, stressing the need to consider each other as allies in a common fight. Russia put its military muscle on display, bringing Moscow-based reporters to view a day's worth of fighter jets roaring off the runway in dozens of sorties as helicopter gunships patrolled the edges of the sprawling facility. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and Amazon app shop browse, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry will meet Friday in Vienna, joined by their counterparts from Saudi Arabia and Turkey, both staunch critics of President Bashar Assad. Wow. You know what? And that'll keep going on. But wouldn't it be nice if we had some good news? Well, let me leave you with this. Probe finds an EPA error caused a mine spill that it hoped to avoid. Government investigators squarely blamed the United States Environmental Protection Agency on today, for a 3 million gallon wastewater spill from a Colorado gold mine, saying an EPA cleanup crew rushed its work and failed to consider the complex engineering involved, triggering the very blowout that it hoped to avoid. The spill that fouled rivers in 3 states would have been avoided had the EPA team checked on water levels inside the Gold King mine before digging into a collapsed and leaking mine entrance, Interior Department investigators said. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to talk some more about the news. We'll talk about a bond lowered for a friend of a suspect in a black church massacre. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. We've got some good cases for you today, so let's get right into them. The first case is the IRS cannot extend the statute of limitations without omitted income. So, sounds a little strange, but let me tell you about it. The IRS assessed tax against a partnership, saying that its partners had overstated their tax basis in it, which caused their income from it to be understated. Now, the partnership objected that the 3-year statute of limitations had expired before the assessment. The IRS answered that the partners had understated their income by more than 25%, so the limitation period was extended to 6 years. So the partnership went to court. This is what the judge said. The 6-year period applies only when a return omits 25% of gross income, not when net income is miscalculated using items reported on the return, as here. Omits means something left out and not something put in and overstated. The partnership escapes the tax. Doesn't that make sense? Yeah, that's exactly what happens here. Now, let's talk about this. The IRS loses. They cannot get a case dismissed on a technicality. Boy, hallelujah, brother. You know, a company filed a wrongful levy suit against the IRS, which answered that the deadline for doing so had already passed. The company replied that it had first made an administrative request to the IRS to return the funds, which extended the deadline. Now, the IRS answered that this would extend the deadline only if the request met several technical requirements. Since the company had to prove that it did, but it hadn't attached a copy of its case filing to prove it, its case file was defective. Now, they went to court. This is what the judge said. You know what? It's too soon to dismiss a case on this kind of a technicality. The company will get a chance to produce a copy of the request to prove that it met all of the requirements. And you know what? Ultimately, the nice part about this is ultimately they did get to prove it, and they did get it, and so they're home free. Just exactly what you'd expect. Let me give you one more. The IRS loses. Delay costs tax in 22 cases. Wait till you hear this. The tax code says that after a partnership settles a dispute with the IRS has 1 year to assess the resulting tax due against the partners personally as individuals. So here's the case. A complex partnership dispute consolidating 22 court cases was settled by an exchange of letters between the partners and the IRS. But the IRS didn't assess tax against the partners within a year, so they said that they escaped it. The IRS answered that the settlement wouldn't be final until the closing agreement had actually been signed. So they went to court for some justice. This is what the judge actually had to say about this. The letters agreeing to settlement were legally binding on both sides. In them, the IRS never required a closing statement. It can't do so after the fact. So the partners, escape the tax. That, you know what, just got to make you smile, right? Of course it does. Listen, you ever want to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing things? That's where we're at right now when we talk about this segment, inside the IRS. Now, these are not tax court cases, but these are decisions and things the IRS has done that have set a precedent that you can actually use depending on what's going on. So let's talk about what goes on inside the IRS. Oh, yeah, here we are inside the IRS. And you know what? I want to get you into this case right now. And this first one is when the IRS wants to find out what your credit report says about you. Now, this is kind of an important thing. It is permissible under the Federal Fair Credit Reporting Act for the IRS to request your credit report if you owe back taxes. Now, the Collection Division of the IRS routinely orders credit reports to determine what assets a delinquent taxpayer owns or to confirm the financial information provided by a taxpayer who requests an installment agreement or an offer in compromise. But you've got to be careful here because what's going to wind up happening is not paying tax because you don't have the money generally is not a crime, but submitting false financial information to the IRS is a crime, so you've got to really, really be careful. Now, let me give you one more. Contesting the decision of a revenue agent after a tax examination. Here's the thing. The most common method of protesting adjustments proposed by a revenue agent is to ask that your case be considered by the IRS Office of Appeals. Now, the IRS Office of Appeals is not an independent agency. Officers work for the IRS, but most times its staffers make an effort to resolve cases to the mutual satisfaction of both taxpayers and the IRS. But you've got to be careful here. An appeals officer is permitted to reopen an issue that was agreed on during the examination, and he or she may raise new issues as the potential effect of the tax liability is material. So your best approach here, consider not taking your case to the IRS Office of Appeals if you know that the revenue agent failed to develop a significant issue that could cost you more money than you might save in the appeals on the other issues. So keep that in mind before you go off half-cocked and do anything here. Now, do not go away because waiting in the wings is my good buddy, Sean Lefebvre, and he's going to be presenting his Geared for Wellness Corner. And you know what? He's got good stuff for us. So don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:33 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, he's waiting in the wings like he always is, and I can't hardly wait to hear what my good buddy's got to say, Sean LaFave. So let's get his introduction going and get him in here so we can talk.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
Okay, here we are. We're with my good buddy Sean LaFave. He's basking in the glory of sitting by the beach in his lounge, probably half snockered by now. I don't know if he's drinking brandy or gin or what is your drink of choice anyway, Sean?
Why not a little of everything? You know, my drink of choice though is bourbon. I love bourbon.
Oh, you're a Jack man.
Nope. Jack is not bourbon. It's Tennessee whiskey.
Oh, okay. So
and don't feel bad for not knowing that.
How about Maker's Choice then?
Maker's Mark.
Maker's Mark.
Yeah, Maker's Mark is bourbon. Woodford is a really good bourbon. Knob Creek. There's a Basil Hayden. There's a whole bunch. So for it to be bourbon,
how about Jim Beam?
What's that?
How about Jim Beam?
Yeah, Jim Beam is probably my default bourbon. It's one of the cheaper ones, but I really like it. It's kind of it's a little bit more harsh. You got a bit more of a bite to it, you know. But I kind of like that. So I'll order Jim Beam probably because it's cheap and because I like things that are kind of you know.
Now, see, my favorite, my drink of choice is cognac. I love cognac, and if I could just introduce that intravenously, I just keep it running.
Yeah, I love cognac. Cognac is awesome. So cognac, so when you say cognac, of course you know that it needs to be made
in Cognac, France.
Cognac, France. Well, bourbon has to be made in Bourbon County of Kentucky.
Right.
Yeah. So it's of course the difference is bourbon's made from corn mash and cognac is made from wine, from distilling down wine.
So have you ever been to Kentucky? I've been to Louisville and I've been to a number of places out in Kentucky. Just beautiful country in the city of Louisville, which is a small city, but it's really a fun city to go to, and the food is phenomenal out there.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. There are only 2 states in the whole country that I've not been to, and Kentucky is one of them. And I've heard amazing things about it, and I just, for whatever reason, just never made it there yet. But it's on my bucket list. I want to go there. I want to get to all of the states before I kick that bucket.
Well, it's interesting. We talk about it. I remember when I was just a young man, and I was so excited. I was just starting to travel. In the first place I was going to go, first time I'd ever actually left the state, other than Las Vegas. Okay, the first time I'd ever left the state was to go to Arizona. I was going to Phoenix, and I was so excited. I was actually taking an airplane to Phoenix, and I felt like a big shot, right? And I felt like a fish out of water. I mean, I was stopping to ask cops, hey, can you make a right-hand turn on a red light here, or can you, and all of a sudden, and their school zones were a whole lot different than the school zones here, and it just was really a cool kick. And then all of a sudden, I started to really travel, and I found out that even though all of our states, or the majority of our states, are contiguous, there is a marked difference between each state. When you cross that imaginary state line, the topography and the people and the food and everything really changes.
Yeah, it really, really does. And, I'm a West Coast boy, and I actually lived in, right near Boston, Massachusetts for 3 years. And I couldn't stand it. It is so different there. The people are so different, the lifestyle is so different, and just everything about the culture there is so different that I never got comfortable living there. I just never really, I lived in a lot of places that I've enjoyed. I really liked Colorado. Kansas was actually not even bad, and, I lived in Montana, and I lived all over the place, but that Northeast, that culture is so very different than the West Coast culture.
Oh, yeah. If you think about, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, New York, just those states, and they're all together, and the differences within those states are just unbelievable. And then when you come out to the West, even the people that are in the South, would accuse us of having an accent here in the West.
Oh, yeah, I know. They think we have an accent. I'm like, no, people from the East Coast, especially Boston. Oh my God, I couldn't. The Southern accent is more enjoyable to listen to. I hope we don't have Boston listeners. I'm sitting there ragging on them. I've met some wonderful people there, but the accent, I just everything about the culture, I just never got used to it. It was just very, very different. And people who are from the East Coast come out here and they think that we're just weird, the East California.
Well, you know what? I am one of those few native Californians, and when I tell people I'm a native Californian, they kind of look at me with a little quizzical look and say, well, I wonder what he's really like.
Yeah, and it's funny, having lived all over the country, and I too consider myself native. I not lived all the time here, but I was born in Encino, actually.
Oh.
And I tell everyone I'm an Encino man. But I graduated high school from Simi Valley, and I've lived most of my growing up years here in California. So I'm a native, and my first driver's license was here, the whole bit. My birth certificate's from here, everything, social security number. But it's funny how people in different parts of the country view Californians, and when I hear the attitude about, Californians are really superficial, they're very materialistic, and I'm like, okay, you got to stop watching Housewives of Orange County. That's not really California, but it's funny how my perception of Californians is so much different than the rest of the country, and I think the rest of the country views us Californians as very superficial, materialistic, snobby, just like out of touch with reality kind of people. And I just they won't help. They won't go out of their way to help you. And it's funny.
What's really interesting, because you're getting, and you're absolutely right. And that happens in the United States. The funny part is if you go to Europe, you are no longer an American. You're no longer from the United States. If you're from California, hey, he's from California.
Yeah, it is. It's very different. Yeah, it's true. When you tell them you're from California, then it is. It's very different. People, you say you're from Kansas, they really don't know what to think. Gosh, you say North Dakota, they're like, what is that? What country is that in? And you're like, so yeah, you're right. When you're from California, it's very different. And if you've got a cow, I was in Iceland, and I know we're probably not going to talk about health today, but I was in Iceland several years ago, and I had a cowboy hat on, and me and my buddy both had cowboy hats on. And, I had my boots on, I had the whole bit. And this guy, people were just, they couldn't get enough of it, over in Europe. But in Iceland especially, they were just enamored with the fact that there was cowboys. I'm not even a real cowboy. I just like wearing my cowboy hat. And this guy comes, he's like, oh, you're American cowboys. And I'm like, yeah, I guess pretty much. I'm not going to try to tell you no because you won't believe me. And he says, oh, can I take your picture? We're like, yeah, sure. So, I thought the guy was going to whip out his little Instamatic camera and take a shot. No, pulls out a 35 millimeter, back before digital cameras, 35 millimeter camera with a big old lens. This dude took 2 rolls of film of pictures of me and my buddy. He's like, oh, stand over here, stand here.
Well, he probably took one of just your belt buckle, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it was so funny. He did. He took pictures of the boots, the hat, everything. It was funny, but. So yeah, they Europeans and other cultures, they think of America, but they think of very specific parts of America that really excite them more than just the United States in general.
Well, the interesting thing is when people think of California, they really think of Southern California because those that other species up in Northern California aren't anything like us.
No. They are. They're exactly. They're a whole different species. Exactly. No. And when people think of California, they think of surfer dudes, and they think of Orange County, and they think of Los Angeles and Sunset Strip, and maybe San Diego. But no one thinks of redwood trees or the great big sequoia trees, or they don't think of. Maybe they might think of Death Valley, because that's so weird and unusual. But, they don't think about the fact that we have, the tallest peak in the United States, in the continental United States, obviously, besides Mount McKinley, is here in California. There's a lot of things about California that aren't Southern California, but that's what most people think of when they think of California.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, hey, listen, let's get into it a little bit. We've only got 4 minutes before we have to take a break. What is it we're actually going to talk about today, or do you want to talk about travel?
Yeah. So, I could talk about travel for we can go on for a whole lot of shows. So we'll get into what we're supposed to talk about. But, I know when we finished up Tuesday, I said I was going to talk about the overdiagnosis and the overtreatment of cancer in this country. And this is an article from the Journal of American Medical Association. So, it's peer reviewed, the whole bit. It's not for some, natural website. But, what they're saying is, the article starts off and says, basically the concept is that, we have all these ability to look for cancer, whether it's through mammograms or through testing or whatever they're doing. And the whole point is to diagnose cancer earlier so we can get it before it metastasizes, or before metastases occurs. And then obviously the survival rates will increase. It will be less expensive to deal with cancer. But what the article says is, unfortunately, despite the introduction of all of these different testing modalities they have, that there has been an increase in the diagnosis of cancer, but there has not been a corresponding improvement in survival rates. And what they're saying is that even though we are able to discover more cancers and it's supposed cancer, it's not even necessarily actually cancer what they're finding, but what they're saying is that we haven't affected survival. Just as many people are dying now as they were before, and we're still getting just as many stages or as many cases of like stage 4 late stage cancers as we had before all of these diagnostic procedures came out. And so what the actual article is titled is Overdiagnosis and Overtreatment in Cancer, an opportunity for improvement.
I sent you, I think I sent it to you. I hope I sent it to you, and I don't even have access to it anymore. There was this study that was done with regard to cancer and catastrophic diseases and things, and they were talking about how it was really a collusion. It was really a conspiracy by drug companies and medical science, because they're not really looking to improve your health. They're looking to treating you because that's where the money is at. And
they're looking for customers, and that's exactly what this type of screening has done. It has created more customers, but it hasn't cured, it hasn't fixed. All these pink ribbons, and I have to really bite my tongue a lot especially when I'm around a group of women, because God forbid that you say anything negative about Susan G. Komen or breast cancer awareness or all that stuff, because I think it's a bunch of 95% of it. I can't stand it. I think it's a waste of money. And when I see things like Totino's frozen pizza with the research for the cure, Mike's hard hard cider,
Yeah.
Here, you can go to, there's BJ's Brew House. I was in there, met some friends for a snack, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and went to BJ's Brew House, and you could get your beer or your drink colored pink for breast cancer awareness. And I'm going, all this stuff that they're using to make money for breast cancer awareness is stuff that will actually lead to cancer.
Okay, so hold that thought, because we want to talk some more about that, because I think you're hitting the nail on the head. We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave in this travesty of misinformation that's going out with regard to cancer and other catastrophic diseases, and what probably the honest truth is. We'll be right back with Sean LaFave after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. And so I think Sean has hit the nail on the head. I really think that the secret to universal health care is if we could get physicians to stop treating symptoms and start doing preventative medicine through diet and exercise, that the whole world would be in a better place. Medical expenses would go way down, and everybody could afford insurance. What do you think?
I totally agree with you, because that's exactly what the problem is with what's going on with this article in the JAMA is talking about. Is, we all of a sudden have been spending billions of dollars on detection, and we've not done anything to save lives or prevent stage 4 cancer in people. And yeah, exactly. What we need to do is take that money and look at cures. But I just like you said, I don't think that the big picture, there are people in the medical world, there's a lot of doctors out there who want to find a cure, but I think the pharmaceutical companies in general really are not interested in finding a cure. They're interested in finding continued treatments.
You're absolutely right. I mean, think about it. They're in the business of providing treatment. If they found a cure, they put themselves out of business. Right,
exactly. And this article, it's crazy, because they're saying that the general public recognize that overdiagnosis is common, and it occurs more frequently with cancer screening than it does with other things. And I think the thing with cancer is we have instilled such fear into people when they hear the word cancer that they go, oh my gosh, I've got to get a mammogram, I've got to get prostate screening, I've got to get all this stuff done. And in fact, I just read an article yesterday that they said that women, used to be the recommendation was they should start getting screened for mammograms at age 40. Now they're saying wait till you're 45.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it used to be after 50 you're supposed to get it every year. Now they're saying no, only do it every other year. And what they're saying is that a lot of these cancers that they're finding are clinically insignificant. That you'll find something and you'll go, yes, this is lung cancer, or yes, this is breast cancer. But the problem is if you left it alone, what they're saying is if you had just not done anything, it would go away on its own. That the body, there's a certain level that the body can't take care of, but there are lots of clinically insignificant cancers in people's bodies that your body can deal with. Your own immune system can kill it off and destroy it and keep it at bay. And what they're saying is now that we're able to detect little tiny tumors, basically, that we're now treating those with chemo and radiation, where 50 years ago, that would have been something your body would have taken care of. So we're spending all of this money on detection and then on treatment, using chemo and radiation and all these drugs. And
the truth is they're playing to the general fear. When you hear that big C word, cancer, you're playing on fear, because everyone looks at cancer as a death sentence, and it isn't always. And the thing is that now they've convinced themselves, oh my God, I've got cancer, I got to do something about it right away. And sometimes the more acceptable treatment by general medicine is, let's go ahead and do chemo and let's do these invasive procedures, and the procedure is actually worse than the disease, and your body probably could have taken care of it in the earlier stages.
Right, and exactly. That's exactly what this article is saying, is exactly that on a lot of these cases, a huge majority of them actually, that if you would just leave them alone, they would take care of themselves. But the common theme here is that it has been that we found it, we attacked it, we did the chemo, we did the radiation, and bam, we saved your life. And so these, people are grateful. So when you approach people, especially someone who's been through a cancer scare like that, they go, no, this stuff saved my life. And because they're told it saved their life. But the fact is, maybe it didn't. All it did was actually make your life worse.
So let me ask you this, and because we have medical science, and you have to have respect for medical science. But the thing is that to what extent do the modalities that they use for cancer treatments and these other catastrophic treatments, to what extent is it because that's how they're trained in school, and they buy into these invasive treatments and the medications and things? They they really haven't been trained to identify these the beginnings of these things that the body can take care of, or is it because we didn't identify it at the beginning for the body to take care of, and so it got worse and it needed more invasive treatment, or would it have gotten worse anyway? I mean, I'm kind of between the catch-22 here, right? What came first, the death from cancer, or the fact that your body couldn't cure the cancer, or the fact that we didn't give it a chance to?
You know, I would imagine it's a combination of those, and there are people who, you know, like we're saying, you know, early diagnosis on things that the body could have taken care of it, we're treating it. And so that's an issue, but certainly that we all know that people get cancer. And we got to remember too, cancer is a fairly new thing. This isn't something, you know, when we were treating cancer on a regular basis here in this country, there were other parts of the world where all of a sudden people were getting cancer, and they're going, "What do you mean? I can have something that's growing inside of me that's going to kill me?" They didn't know it. There were parts of this world where cancer was unknown.
Well, yeah. Whoa, wait a minute. It was well over 100 years old. They used to call it consumption.
Well, cancer has been around for a long time, but in its, as far as the mass, the commonality of it, how common it is nowadays is the difference. You know, there are still, you know, I don't know if still, but I know 20 years ago, you could go to parts of the world where they go, we just don't get cancer here, and I think that, matter of fact, this article talks about that, you know, future research should include controlling the environment, you know, that for precancerous and cancerous conditions wherever they arise, you know, which is an alternative to surgical excision, is what it says, and basically what that means is that we need to understand how to treat the body, the environment of the body, get what is it that's leading to the cancer growing? You know, what is it that the body needs to fight the cancer itself? And they're saying instead of doing surgery, instead of all of these, you know, the chemo and radiation and all this stuff going in and removing these tumors, maybe there's a way we could change the environmental structure of the body itself so the body could fight it. And that's really, you know, in my opinion, that's where it's at. We live in this world now where we're so inundated with just garbage in our lives, all these toxins, all these things going into our system, that cancer, you know, our bodies become very acidic. I can't think of his name, but the doctor who really kind of discovered cancer, you know, he wrote a book on how to treat it, and part of that was, you know, understanding the pH balance of the body and getting rid of the acidity. And so I think that, you know, back to your question, I think a big part of it is we haven't given the body a chance to fight it, but also I think the body is so inundated and so worn out from everything, from the crappy food that we eat to the air that we breathe and all the stuff, you know, that we get when we get inoculations, the injections, the drugs we've been taking, and on, that our bodies just don't have the ability to fight cancer like they did 50 years ago.
You know, that's a God, that's sad. I was going to say that was a death wish. It's almost an epitaph for people, and it just seems to me that it's a no-win. If you get a cancer that, as you say, the body would fight and cure itself of, gee, that's terrific. I mean, that's really fantastic. But what if you get a cancer and your body doesn't take care of it, which is what you're saying now? We know we've lost that ability for that to happen, and we ignore medical science, and so we do nothing, and then it becomes so advanced that you die. I mean, does that make sense?
Well, no, certainly not. You obviously, you know, you've got to decide which route you want to take, and if the body gets to the point where, okay, this stuff is going to metastasize, you know, you've got to take care of it. You've got to go in, you've got to use surgery, chemo, radiation, but there are alternatives, and I know people who have successfully used all natural alternatives. They go and they go through a detox program. They start juicing. They start alkalizing their body. They do these things, and the cancer will eventually go away, and it works. But
the interesting thing is because of you, and I ought to just smack you in the head for it, but because of you, I've actually done a lot of reading on this subject, and there is so much documentation where people have absolutely altered their lifestyles and altered their diets and exercising and did all these things, and there is no explanation from medical science as to why, but their tumors and their cancers went away, and it's because of exactly what you're saying. They treated it in a natural way. It's our lifestyle that causes these problems. We weren't born with this target inevitable at age such and such and such. You're going to get this catastrophic disease. It's because you're doing something that becomes a catalyst for it, and you've got to remove that catalyst if you want to remove that disease.
No, exactly, and that's exactly it. I've got a friend out in Florida. He's a chiropractor, a very successful one. His name is Charlie Majors, and he was kind of a mentor of mine. I used to a lot of the stuff that I learned on how to build my practice and deliver doctor's reports and stuff I learned personally from Charlie Majors. But a few years ago, matter of fact, just over 5 years ago, he was diagnosed with cancer, and stage 4. He had brain cancer. He had, I think it was in his brainstem or something like that. And they basically gave him a death sentence. They said that you've got months to live at this point. It's not a if, it's a when you die. And it's been 5 years now that it's been in complete remission, and so they can say that he actually, now because it's been more than 5 years, he can come out and say, I've cured myself of cancer, and he did it all naturally. This guy was given a death sentence. He was in the hospital. All the doctors said, yeah, you're going to die. There's no two ways about it. And he was surrounded by a huge support group of other healthcare, natural healthcare professionals who were willing to go, let's work on this. Let's make this happen. And he did. He naturally beat cancer, stage 4 brain cancer. And, it's a powerful story, and it's been over 5 years now. And it happens. But most people are so scared that what if it doesn't work? Well, the unfortunate part is most of the time chemotherapy doesn't work either.
That's the problem. That's the problem, because you know what? The real statistic that you hear today is, hey, you know what? If you got cancer, fine. If you take the treatment, fine. Can we prolong your life? Yeah, by a few months, but you're still going to die. You there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You cut on that last part.
I said, yeah, you're still going to die. So, anyway, we've got 20 seconds before we have to say goodbye. So what do you want to leave us with?
After all that, just, understand the thing you just hit on was we have lifestyled ourselves into this, and understand that your lifestyle changes you can make can not only prevent cancer, but can help you live just an amazing, wonderful life. And those are the things to look for, is what am I doing in my life that I can change to make my life better. And I don't have a cliffhanger for next Tuesday.
All right.
Everyone, the cliffhanger is you got to figure out what the cliffhanger is.
All right, I've got a nasty thing I can call you, but I can't to take me off the air. In the meantime, you have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay happy, have a great time, and make everybody's life that you touch better for it, will you?
I will do that. You same to you, Robert. Thank you.
All right, take care. When we come back, we'll be with our own John Matthews and his Conservative Syndicate Corner. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:08 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? I've got my good buddy John Matthews waiting in the wings. John actually broadcasts Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time on and the easiest way to listen to his show, The Conservative Syndicate, is go to his website, theconservativesyndicate.net. I want to tell you, he just got done with a magnificent series, and we're going to be asking him about it. So we might as well get him in here and find out what he's got to say. So let me get his intro going.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. John Matthews.
Okay, so we're with my good buddy John Matthews. John, boy, he just hit us with a fantastic statistic yesterday. John's show, The Conservative Syndicate, is now reaching 1 million people a day, and that's fantastic. Hey, congratulations, John.
Well, thank you very much. I'd like to be more humble and say I don't deserve it, but I do.
Well, you know what? You actually do. There's no question about it. You know, I'm really excited for you, and I can actually hear that excitement in your voice, right?
Well, it's been a long time coming, and we started this year out after a big change in the show the previous year, and basically had to start from scratch. We were involved in a contract dispute with a network we were with, and so I walked away from the network and basically started from scratch. So to be able to climb back and actually triple the audience rather than what we had at the beginning of the year, it's I'm very proud of the team that we have together, which you're part of, Bob. You're part of this too, so you deserve part of the credit also. So we just have a good panel. We have good people who have a lot of integrity, very good at what they do, and so everybody's contributed part to it. So I'm very happy with it.
Well, it seems like you're getting to the tipping point now, because when you start broadcasting to a potential audience of 1 million people, you know what? You don't have to have much of a percentage of an increase to have a very big increase, John.
Well, it's becoming a little bit more exciting. One of the major networks is
there's two very large affiliates that we're with, and there's 6 little smaller ones. And the largest of the affiliates, the owner of the site, the guy that runs the network over there, has actually asked me to move to a different time slot to precede his show. He wants my show to be for his show. So we're looking at that right now. We're examining whether or not it's a feasible thing to do. There's a time issue involved, and I got to make sure that Joe Hakos, because he's on the East Coast and I'm on the West Coast, so we have to make sure that we coordinate right. But it's exciting that somebody would even offer me that. So it's just one thing is leading to another. So maybe it's our time.
You know what? And that's the beautiful thing about you. Maybe it's our time. I think you know what? You just pick up everybody and take them with you. That's the nice part about you. So listen, you have had an absolutely magnificent series this week going on. And I think I'm gonna ask you to do the impossible. You spent 3 full days absolutely analyzing and exposing for lack of a better term, the liberal socialist group, and I was hoping that, or democratic socialist, however you want to call it, and I was hoping that you might give us a capsulated form of what you gave everybody over the last 3 days, but do it over this segment and a half that you got going.
Well, we just found it necessary. But what we do, we really try to stay with the flow of what's going on out there across America in terms of topics and issues. And one of the things that we do on the show very well is what we refer to as exhausting a topic. That means we'll take a particular topic and we dissect it, and we'll go into it into depth and draw out as much information as we think is relevant to whatever it is that needs to be put out there in the public. And the idea that we had, it actually triggered a thought several months ago when Debbie Wasserman Schultz was asked by Chris Matthews what was the difference between the Democrat and the socialist. And she would not respond. And she was asked again by Chuck Todd later on, and she was asked by other news organizations. CNN, I believe, hit her up too, and wanted to know, what is the difference? She chose not to answer that question. And during the debate last week, the Democratic debate, Bernie Sanders made an attempt to try to define democratic socialism, which is different than socialism, they say. And Hillary tried to respond in her way. Neither one of them got it right. So we thought, well, you know what? Let's take this topic and let's look at it and let's dissect it for what it is. And so that's what we did. We spent part of the time talking about the more common variants of this type of ideology. We talked about socialism, Marxism, and communism, their differences, their contrasts, and their similarities. And there we went to the Democratic Socialists of America's website and pulled up their information, their definitions of what democratic socialism is, and took that to task. And we found a lot of contradictory, hypocritical type statements. The central thought being, of course, that you can't really have any type of government if you have no type of revenue. And revenue has to be done through capitalism. Now, you can argue who's supposed to control it and who regulates it and what's allowed and what's not allowed, but capitalism is at the root of everything. And so we tried to, within the context of their debate and what the actual Democratic Socialists of America believe and what they disseminate as information, we took all this and put it together and said, okay, this is what we're looking at. And what it basically is it's socialism that has been repackaged by the left as a new form of capitalism. And the general thrust of it is that private sector puts all the risk on the line and the government tells them how to do it. And in the process of doing that, through government regulation and oversight, the people that work for a particular company or corporation will achieve some type of social equality with the very people that are actually funding and running and doing and laying out the risk of running a business. So what it is it's an abstract form of redistribution of wealth. And what they're saying is, okay, if you're going to work for company A, then you should get more of the distribution of the wealth. What Sanders and Clinton are saying is that capitalism has to be saved from itself, because what happens is if you don't regulate it, then it becomes the rich get rich and the poor get poor. Yeah. And And so that feeds into all the other issues. We talked about how the socialists use social issues for the purpose of pandering to certain demographics in the hopes of, if we can win this battle for you, perhaps eventually you'll sign on with us and you'll join our revolution to take over the economy and let the government nationalize it and run it. So if you think about the homosexual agenda or immigration reform, the war on women, abortion, all these things are issues that the socialists have particularly or specifically chosen to head up under the headline of social injustice. And so by correcting social injustice, then you'll have enough trust in us to take over the economic system, and we'll get economic justice. So it's a very long-term strategy. It's been going on for several decades now in this country. I mean, it's been in the country forever, but really kicked into high gear during the Johnson administration and beyond. And we've got members of Congress now that are sitting in Congress, have been sitting there. Some of them have been in there 5 or 6 terms. We laid out the names of these people, exposed who they were. I think the 2 that really stuck out to me was Jan Schakowsky, who was a senator out of Illinois and was one of the people who handpicked Barack Obama for state senate in Illinois back when he was just a lowly state senator before he became a U.S. senator and then president. And they worked in the same community organizations, UNO and the Midwest Academy and all these organizations, which is the capital of community organizing in Chicago. So he was handpicked and brought up through the ranks and mentored, and then they got together, got the money together, and of course now he's sitting in the White House. And the other one, of course, is our former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, who is an actual card-carrying member of the Democratic Socialist America. And, of course, Bernie Sanders, who is actually the founder of the Progressive Caucus in Congress. And there's several other people in the House right now that are all members of the Progressive Caucus, or Progressive Congressional Caucus. And so these are the things that we wanted the American public to be aware of, is that we've got a situation here where socialism is a long-term strategy. I like to equate it to terrorism. These terror cells, they sit around dormant for years until the time is ripe, and then they're activated and they go into work. That's what's been happening with the progressive movement of the party. They've even changed the name of it. It started out in the earlier days, it was communism, and then it became socialism, and then it became liberalism, and now it's progressivism, but it's all under the same label of socialism.
Well, it all has the same definition. But John, hold that thought. We've got to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with John Matthews and the Conservative Syndicate Corner right after these brief messages. Please don't go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to my good buddy, John Matthews. No, John airs his show every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time, the Conservative Syndicate. And if you want to hear his show, and I'm sure you do, I'll tell you what, I can't imagine not listening to it. Tune in, go to his website at theconservativesyndicate.net and just push on that little icon that's labeled Listen Live, or you can listen to all of his archive shows. John's got a fantastic show. The one thing he's going to do is he's going to convince you that he's done a lot of research, and he has, and he's, you know what, he's not going to just say something he can't defend. So whether you believe him or you don't believe him, whether you agree with him or you don't agree with him, it's good to listen to him because the man has done his homework, and he's going to make you think. Having said that, hey, John, what do you think's going to happen now with Paul Ryan? It looks like the Freedom Party is going to support this guy.
Well, so what? Much ado about nothing, you know.
I wasn't expecting that.
we might as well talk about climate change. I mean, it's about as relevant, you know. It's a sad state of affairs.
I was thinking that we were going to get into this conversation, you know, that Boehner is going to leave, right? And the Freedom Party was going to block Ryan. We weren't going to have a Speaker of the House, which means that we weren't going to get any bills in Congress, which means that we weren't going to get the funding bill taken care of, which means the government was going to shut down. And the government shuts down, that means that we're never going to get a Speaker. Who knows what's going to happen, right? No, instead of that, I get, who cares?
Well, there's really there's no other response. I mean, what did you expect? Did anybody actually expect something to really come out of this? It's not going to happen. The idea, Paul Ryan is as much a shadow of John Boehner as Eric Cantor was.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, why else would he say, hey, I'm only going to run if I get 100% support, and that you cannot throw me out of office, and he's making up all these rules, and why would he do all that if he was going to make you happy?
Well, I think the strategy, I think, from the establishment point of view, of course, was to put a policy wonk in place of Boehner, who obviously has no policy about anything, other than making sure his shirt is cleanly pressed every day, and that his wine supply does not diminish. That's basically what's his function as Speaker. Paul Ryan is more of a policy wonk, and I think they thought that perhaps that would appease those who are, crying out there for balanced budget amendments and defunding and stuff like that. But Paul Ryan actually has a worse voting record than John Boehner. A lot of people don't know this.
Talking about, and I know that we're going to go off into a different thing. Talking about a bad voting record. Did you happen to see, Rubio on the, Marco Rubio on the screen the other day? He was actually in front of Congress saying that if you don't do your job, you should get fired. You should do all these things. And the man has not shown up for 47% of his votes.
Well, yeah, and where else could you hear something like that but from a Bush protege?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this thing, and I'm not even believing my ears. He's talking about firing everybody that's not doing their job, right? He's talking about Congress, and he's as big an offender as anybody.
Well, yeah, he's actually one of the worst people around when it comes to showing up.
47% of the votes. I don't know, because I haven't looked it up, but that's got to be the worst record in Congress.
Well, I believe, when you're talking about, if you say, okay, Marco Rubio votes more conservatively than Paul Ryan, well, you probably got a point there. He does. Now let's talk about who votes the most. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's the case where I could understand you saying, who cares, right? Because he doesn't vote, so who cares how he votes?
Well, he's too busy running for president. At least look at some of the other people out there. I mean, Rand Paul's running for president. He manages to show up. Ted Cruz is running for president. He manages to show up. But Rubio, I got better things to do. So I don't know what it is that makes these people. This is my biggest argument about this. This is something that I've been pitching for quite a while. I think, when we talk about adding amendments to the Constitution and things like that, I'm not a real big fan of adding anything to government.
No.
But one of the things I think they should do is that if you're in a sitting office in Congress or the House of Representatives, you should not be allowed to run for another office while you're sitting in a current position.
Yeah.
Because what we're seeing here now, some of the hot races that are out there that are coming up here in November, people keep forgetting we're going to have a Senate race, we're going to have a House of Representatives. People are not paying attention to the fact that whoever the next president is going to appoint at least 3 Supreme Court justices. These are things that people are just out there. It's just, do we want Trump, the radical right, or do we want Bernie Sanders, the radical left? Or are we going to end up with the worst of everything, either Bush or Clinton? All that stuff is irrelevant compared to what's going on in Congress, what's going on in Supreme Court. We're either going to be able to restore our balance of powers, or we're going off the deep end. Depends on who gets elected.
Yeah.
But the idea here that we have 3 sitting senators running for president, all Republicans, at a time when we need a supermajority, and one of the seats that's up for grabs right now is Rubio's.
Yeah.
Rubio's right now, it's an even shot. If that goes to a Democrat, wow. Where, Charlie Crist, the guy, the man of all parties, depending on what party needs a candidate, he'll change his party affiliation. He's running for Senate as a Democrat.
But the problem is we're paying them to go out and campaign. We're paying this guy $200,000 a year to go out and campaign when he should be working for us. Now, I'll give you this: at least Rubio, he's got to give up his seat. He's not going to win the presidency, and he's going to lose his seat in the Senate because he can't have both of them. I don't know how Rand Paul got away with what he was doing, but he got some special deal going. But he's going to lose both anyway as well, I think. But the truth is I agree with you. If they're sitting there and they're elected and they're supposed to be doing a job, we shouldn't be paying them to try and get a different job.
Well, the idea here, like I said, if it was written in such a way that you say, look, if you're a sitting senator and you're a sitting member of the House of Representatives, you cannot run for president. Or you cannot. We've got situations where we've got people in the House running for Senate seats. We've got governors running for House of Representatives. And the people don't understand that this shifts the balance of powers. We can win the White House and still lose the war if we lose the Senate.
Yeah.
So this idea that everybody gets out to do whatever it is they feel like doing, to me, it's just totally ridiculous. And
well, I mean, think about it. You've hit the nail on the head. Just think about this: the next president, let's just say the next president was going to be a Republican, and that Republican had 3 Supreme Court judges to pick. And we lost the Senate, and it's the Senate that has to approve those appointments. They'd sit there on their thumbs and never approve them. We would never get those Supreme Court judges. We've got to maintain the control in the House and the Senate if we get the White House, if we're going to try and get anything done with any balance of power.
If the current balance of powers, as it is right now, if Congress remained the way it is right now, we just said, okay, everything pans out and the split is what it is, okay? Who cares who's in the White House? If you got somebody running Congress, the way people seem to have forgotten, the president's job is to execute legislation that's already been passed, not write legislation, not get legislation passed. His job is to execute the office of the president, which is to enforce law. Now, if Congress was doing their job, they're doing the legislating like they're supposed to be doing, and the Supreme Court is doing their job, which is determining the constitutionality of such legislation. Who cares who's sitting in the White House?
That's true.
We have historical examples of that.
That's true because then you simply, if you're doing your job, you're consistently overriding any chance of a veto anyway, which means that you're actually legislating.
We have historical context of when we had a president who was of a party, not the majority in Congress, that could get things done. We've got him. Clinton, as much as I hate Clinton, he got some things done. Reagan got things done. These people were in office. They had, even George Bush's first term, he didn't have a majority in the House of Representatives or the Senate, but he got some things done. And so it can be done. This idea that we need to have control of everything it's democracy. We're going from republicanism to democracy. The majority needs to do it. No. The Constitution was written in such a way to protect the majority from overrunning the representation of the rest of the country.
You know what? And I would agree with that if we had a normal Congress. But the problem is we have a Congress now that if your label is Democrat or Republican, you are exponentially opposed to the other side, regardless of the merits of what is being presented.
Well, that's how it's evolved. The Democrat Party has become a progressive socialist party. The Republicans, rather than counter that, have been overtaken by fear of it. And so what they're doing is they're slowly evolving. They're trying to figure out where can we compromise to hold what little power we have that we can't use anyway. It's like, it's so self-destructive. And it's so silly. It's just silly that you've got men and women sitting out there thinking, well, I'm elected to do something, but I can't really do it because I don't have the backing of the enemy.
Yeah.
When did it come into being that you needed to have the enemy approve of what you're doing?
Well, one of the things that Joe Biden said yesterday when he was saying he wasn't going to run for president, I actually appreciated very much, and that was the comment that the other party is really not the enemy. They are the other side, but they're not your enemy. They just have a different opinion of how to get places. If you had that attitude, then you actually could reach common ground, regardless of what your basic beliefs were. When you start thinking in terms of the other side as the enemy, you're never going to get anything done.
But the point being, that's an out-and-out lie. The idea that, for him to stand up there and say,
he said that because of what Hillary Clinton said.
I'm sorry?
He said that because of the comment that Hillary Clinton had made.
Right. He did it to try to neutralize something. He's trying. It's liberal doublespeak.
Yeah.
This is something we talk about on our show all the time. Yeah, you're not my enemy. We just don't agree. Yeah. Well, what do you mean? We're not enemies, but we don't agree. I don't understand that. If you're diametrically opposed to everything that I believe, you are not my friend. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Well, yeah, but what about the case where both sides agree we need immigration reform? They just disagree on what to do about it.
Well, you can have that. There's nothing wrong with the debates about methodology.
Yeah.
How are we going to do something? But the decision has to be made whether it should be done or not.
Yes.
And so if you're sitting there saying, well, I think it should be done, and, damn the laws and damn the Constitution, I think it should be done. That's Obama's thing.
Yeah.
It's the right thing to do. I think it's the right thing to do. Screw everybody else. Don't tell me this guy is not my enemy. He is.
Yeah, absolutely, from a political standpoint. So listen, my friend, we've got 45 seconds. What do you got on the agenda for your show next week? What are you going to go in depth at?
Well, I think we're going to dig a little bit into the Benghazi thing just because of the hearings. There's some really good stuff there. I was catching some of it, and some of the things, a lot of people are trying to play it down, but there's some very important things in terms of the emails and stuff. We'll probably talk a little bit about that. And, of course, they're getting ready for the next Democratic debate and, of course, the next Republican debate. We're going to talk a little bit more about what's going on with the candidates as far as that goes right now. I hate to really just jump out there and say this is what we're going to do next week because, hey, we got a whole weekend ahead of us, man,
The whole world could change, right?
I'm sorry?
The whole world could change.
Yeah. I mean, anything can happen in 48 hours,
Yep. So, hey, listen, let's tell everybody that my good buddy John Matthews broadcasts Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. And the easiest way to listen to him is to go to theconservativesyndicate.net. That's his website. And that's the easiest way to get him and listen live because he is syndicated all over the nation and all over the world. Hey, John, great show, my friend. You have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay happy, and make everybody's life that you touch better, will you?
Okay, you have a good one too, my friend. God bless.
All right, God bless you too. Now, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to do the birthdays for today, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what today is? Sure you do. It's Thursday, October, easy for me to say, October the 22nd, and it's somebody's birthday. Okay, I don't know how I got tongue-tied like that, but I did, so that's what happened. So today's the birthday of somebody we all have heard of, even if we don't know him. He was born in 1920, passed away in 1996, a writer, psychologist, advocate of psychedelic drug research, and one of the very first people whose remains have been sent into space. Happy birthday, Timothy Leary. And here's a guy that just wants to give you a hug. He was born in 1946, a physician and writer who began his career as an MD and later became a mind-body expert. Happy birthday, Deepak Chopra. And it's also the birthday of a fantastic actor, Mr. Jeff Goldblum. Happy birthday, Jeff. And today in history, October 22nd, 1746, the College of New Jersey. You know what that is, right? Well, it was later renamed Princeton University, receives its charter. And in 1797, 1,000 meters, that's 3,200 feet above Paris, André Jacques Gamain makes the very first recorded parachute jump. Yep, in 1797. And here's the gentleman. In 1926, J. Gordon Whitehead sucker punches magician Harry Houdini in the stomach in Montreal and actually damages his appendix, and he dies from that. Well, our quote for today comes from George Bernard Shaw. George says, "I want to be all used up when I die." You know what? That's not a bad idea for all of us, right? It makes sense to me. How about let's get right to the secret daily teaching for your life. And you already heard me say it many, many times. It's all about a positive mental attitude. In the teaching for today, you can turn writing into a powerful time to create your future life. Next time that you're in a situation where you are waiting, seize that time and imagine having all the things that you want. You can do this anywhere, anytime. Turn every life situation into a positive one. It's all about a positive mental attitude. That's right, folks. That's exactly what it is. Now, let's talk about the Harvard Business Tip of the Day. And for some reason, this thing is not, I don't know why I'm having such a problem with this thing every day. It's starting to drive me nuts. You know, at some point, I'm going to give up on it. So let's try it one more time. And if it doesn't work, and it's not, to heck with it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to skip the Harvard Business Tip of the Day for today, and we're going to do interesting but useless facts. You know, it's an extra 30 seconds of this. It makes no difference to me. Here we go. Did you know that Finagle's Law was the one that went, anything that can go wrong will go wrong? That wasn't Murphy's Law. No. Think about it. The Finagle's Law. That's the facts, folks. How about this? Did you know a snake has no ears? However, its tongue is extremely sensitive to sound vibrations, and by constantly flicking its tongue, the snake picks up these sound waves. In this sense, a snake hears with its tongue. That's kind of interesting if you think about it, right? Sure it is. How about this one? Did you know the reason why milk is white is because it contains a protein called casein, which is white. It also contains fat, which is white. So give that some thought. And you know what? Here's the other thing. Sean LaFave and I, we talk about this all the time. He says it's not good for me, and I say I don't care. I love milk. I was raised on a dairy. I've drinking milk all my life. I'm going to continue to drink milk. Now that I'm older, I need more and more calcium in my system to help protect my strong bones, and so I get some of that from milk. So, what the heck? How about this? Did you know that it's impossible to sneeze with your eyes open? I didn't know that. I wonder if I'll remember the next time I sneeze to see if I have my eyes open. I wonder why that is. It might be, if you think about it, it might be just a natural reaction. Your eyes kind of bulge. It's partly to protect your eyes, if you think about it. How about this? The tigers have striped skin, not just striped fur. So if you shave the fur off, the skin underneath would have stripes in the same places. That's kind of interesting. Did you know that the letter W is the only letter in the alphabet that has 3 syllables? All others have just one, W. Hey, and here's one for you. Approximately 80% of all paper money in the United States contains traces of cocaine. So doesn't it make you wonder how it is when you're walking through an airport and you have these drug dogs there, that they aren't all over you? If 80% of all paper money, you got to have the trace of cocaine. They must be smelling this stuff, right? You would think, Oh, let's see. Here's one. Wine will spoil if exposed to light. Hence, tinted bottles. That's why. And that's the truth. I have a wine cellar, and it holds about 750 bottles of wine, and it is totally dark. We have a temperature control, but it is totally dark because I'm more worried about the light than anything else. As long as you don't have a big fluctuation in temperature, you're okay. But if you've got light in there, it's going to ruin everything. So keep that in mind. Did you know that Warner Communications paid $28 million for the copyright to the song Happy Birthday? Give that one some thought. And by the way, Happy Birthday is now public domain. So they paid $28 million for it, and they can't do a thing about it. You can use it all you want. So give that some thought. Let me leave you with this. The first letters of the months July through November, in order, spell the name Jason. I'll leave you with that. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to answer your emails. And my first email today comes from Seymour Goldberg from Danville, Virginia. He's asking about IRA contributions, and I'll tell you all about that. You know what, actually? I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away. We'll be right back, folks. We'll be right back if I can find there we go.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. Aho Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:52 p.m. Pacific time. It is still 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, we're coming down to the wire. Time for me to answer your emails. I want to remind you that this is an entertainment section of the show. We do our best to answer your questions, comprehensively, but sometimes your email's just a little bit sketchy with the data that you give us. So we always encourage you to contact a licensed professional. They're going to interview you, gather all the data that's pertinent and necessary to make a good decision for you, and they're going to help you. The other thing is they're going to give you peace of mind and let you sleep at night because, here's the thing. One of the requirements of their license is that they have errors and omissions insurance. We also call that malpractice insurance. If they make a mistake, then they pay the piper, not you. So you don't have to worry about the certified letters and telephone calls and knocks at the door, any of that kind of stuff. They're going to give it to you. So you always deal with a licensed professional. They're going to generally save you more money than they're going to cost you. But let's get into our emails. The first email today, like I said, comes from Seymour Goldberg from Danville, Virginia. He's asking about IRA contributions, and he says, I made a $4,000 contribution to a traditional IRA last year at year end. Now, I got a bonus that made my income too high to deduct the contribution because I am a participant in a qualified plan. Can I take it out of the IRA? Well, Seymour, you can withdraw the contribution and the earnings that accrued on it within the IRA without penalty if you did it by April the 15th, which is already gone, or October the 15th, which now, if you did it with an extension, which is also now gone. Now, the withdrawal of the contribution will be tax-free, while the earnings will be actual taxable income to you. But you can leave the contribution and earnings in the IRA by simply not deducting the contribution. It will then continue to earn tax-deferred investment returns, and that $4,000 of your future IRA withdrawals will be tax-free on a proportional basis if you make a non-deductible contribution. Record it by filing Form 8606. That's non-deductible IRAs. So if you're past the time and you've you've done this and you've already sent that in there, just leave the money there if you can, and just amend your return and take out the deductible part of it. The chances are, if you found that error before the IRS did, they won't ding you. They'll appreciate it. All right. Next income comes from Linda Berlin from Bellflower, California, asking about innocent spouse. And she writes, my husband has been cheating on his taxes. If I file a separate return, can I avoid being liable? Well, here's the thing, Linda. For the current year, if you file as married filing separately, you'll owe tax only on your own separate income, not on your husband's income. However, if your husband cheated in past years and you filed joint returns for those years, you cannot switch to filing separate for those years. After filing a separate return, however, you can still switch to filing joint. You know, it's sort of like a catch-22. The IRS makes their own rules, right? You can go one way but not the other. But you may still escape liability for your husband's taxes on your past year joint returns by claiming innocent spouse status. Now, see IRS publication 971, that's innocent spouse relief, and consult a tax pro. That, my friends, is where you really, really want to go. Now, let me give you a little bit of tax news that you might need to know. Let's talk about charitable deductions for license plates. Do you think about it? Well, you know what? If your state lets you obtain a plate supporting a cause like autism or breast cancer, wildlife, the arts, and it can claim that part of the charitable contribution deduction, if you itemize your deduction on Schedule A, you can do that on your 1040, your Form 1040. Now, to learn custom plate or to learn custom plate options and the portion of the fees that go to the charity, check with your state's Department of Motor Vehicles. But yeah, you can deduct that, and just think about it. But here's the other thing. Keep in mind that only about 25% of the nation actually itemizes their deductions, which is the only way you're going to be able to do this under that charity side. So keep that in mind when you're moving on. And how about this? Penalty-free withdrawals of rebate checks. If per your instructions, your tax return refund was directly deposited into an IRA or a Roth IRA, a health savings account, Archer Medical Savings Account, Coverdale Education Savings Account, or ESA, or a Section 529 college savings plan, your economic stimulus check is automatically credited to the same account. Now, the stimulus payment may be put over contribution limits for the year, or your income this year may preclude the contribution actions that ordinarily would result in a tax penalty. Fortunately, the IRS says that you have until the due date of your return, that's April the 15th, or the extension, like I said, October the 15th, or later if the extended due date went beyond that for the Coverdale. Now, to withdraw some or all of the rebate check penalty free, the IRS promises to provide instructions for reporting withdrawals on those returns if financial institutions report the distributions on information returns, which they should not be doing. So kind of give that some thought. And with that, I think it's time for us to say adieu. You know, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and on 405 Media Radio Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com, where I get all the emails that I deal with here on the show. On my next show, we're going to be talking to Dr. Stephen Tidwell, and he'll be talking about tomorrow's dentistry today. And David Garrett continues his series of Garrett on the Law, and I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then, when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. In the meantime, I want you to stay safe. I want you to stay happy, and I want you to make everybody's life better because you're in it. Other than that, all I can say is good night, everybody.